Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And today we're taking a look at the other movie that went directly to streaming platforms on Christmas Day, Disney Pixar's Soul. And since Devon is the Disney expert among the three of us, take it away, Devon. Tell us about Soul.
All right, so Soul is directed by Pete Docter, who has only directed a few of the Pixar movies, but has arguably directed my favorite Pixar movies. He's done Monsters, Inc., WALL-E, Inside Out, and Up. He was at least a writer, if not a director, on all of those. So I had a lot of expectations going into this movie. This was the first full-length movie that Disney's released to Disney Plus that wasn't Mulan released, where it's like that weird Disney Plus premium, you have to pay us $30. This was just released. This was supposed to originally be released, I think, around this time, around holiday season 2020 anyway. They decided to take it to Disney Plus. It stars Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey, which is, I mean, it's a cool combo. I thought it was an
weird
interesting
combo.
It is a weird combo, but I kind of liked it. And yeah, so this is the first official one on Disney Plus. It has very lofty ambitions, and I want to hear what you guys thought about it.
I guess they're not counting Onward because that did get a theatrical release.
I actually saw that in theaters.
Okay. I still have not seen that one.
No.
I really enjoyed this. From the opening Disney logo where they had the middle school band playing When You Wish Upon a Star, I was like, okay, this is good. This is my kind of movie. I really enjoyed this a lot. There's a lot that I have to say about it, but it's mostly all good. So, Ryan?
I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. It's been a while since I've seen a new Pixar movie. It's been a while since they've released one. And I wasn't too, unfortunately, Devon, and I do apologize, I wasn't too impressed with Onward.
That's okay.
So that was the last new Pixar movie that came out, and so my expectations were just like, Pixar's, their big run is over. Now they're just going to be doing like specialized stories more than like the overarching ones. And this was kind of both. Like this was definitely like targeted, but at the same time, they did enough to it to appeal to a lot of people. And I'll get into that, once we start talking about it. But I mean, I really enjoyed this a lot. And so did Kristen, because she watched it with me. So.
Oh, that's cool. This for me was weird. So going into it, I was excited for it, but every kind of promotional material I had seen about it, I went, oh my God, this is just going to be Up again. And it felt like Up for a little while, and then it started doing its own thing. And I loved it the most when it did its own thing. But my favorite part about Pixar is it always has this moment where it does the whole reveals the lie that the main character believes. Like that's one of their hallmarks is they'll like show you the lie the main character believes. They'll show them, learning that lie is not true, obviously. And then that's kind of the emotional core of the movie. I feel like that one didn't hit as hard for me in this movie, but I love the message that was at the center of that more than I am mad about what it didn't do, I think.
Yeah, we can get into that more because I have some thoughts on that too.
Yeah.
It's not something I really look for in a Pixar movie, but that does bring up a good point that I had for the end of this film.
Okay.
Watching the trailers or the commercials that I did see for this, I was getting more of an Inside Out vibe than I was an Up vibe.
Did I say Up? I meant Inside Out. I 100% meant Inside Out. Okay. I do that sometimes. Remember that time I said Deadpool was directed by David Lynch?
Yeah, that was fun.
That's not true. He definitely didn't do that. I didn't mean Up.
Speaking of directors, like Pete Docter is the director on this, but it was also co-directed by Kemp Powers, which I think is important to say because he also did the story with Pete Docter and Mike Jones.
That's right, he did, yeah.
So just giving credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so where do we want to start?
Let's start with what we like. Let's not start into spoilers just yet. Let's like dive into like what we liked about the movie. And I'll start because I've been thinking about this for a while. I liked that Pixar's thing lately has been two unlikely people have to physically go to another place way over there, and they run into all of these zany things that have to do with the world on the way. Onward did that. Inside Out did that. Wall-E, in some sense, did that. Up did that. They're like, okay, this is our location. This is our conceit. We're going to kind of run into these things while the character physically goes that way. And this movie didn't do that, and I really appreciated it for it.
Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, no, I could definitely see where Devin's coming from that. And superficially, I mean, I just kind of like the setup, it being like a guy who gets like, hey, like he gets his life set up and he's like, yeah, that's not really what I want to do. Like, I like that. More superficial stuff. I love the fact that there's a cat in this. I'm just gonna straight up say it. I'm a cat person, and I love the fact that like as soon as the cat got involved, it's like yes, because I did not see a cat in any of the promotional stuff except for like on Disney Plus. Like after I watched it, then the cat appeared on everything, and I didn't see the cat before. So
I think that was intentional.
I
like
think
that
so too, because because that was definitely an aspect to this film. Because I mean, I seriously. After seeing Onward and then seeing the advertisements for this, I was like, oh, okay, so he learns his life lesson. Like, I seriously thought this was going to be like a Grinch type storyline. Like, seriously. And I was like, I don't really want to see that. It's going to be Pixar, so it's going to be good, and it's going to be funny, but I'm not sure if I really want to see that kind of a storyline right now. And it wasn't that, and I was happy about that. So, I think I answered the question correctly.
Yeah.
No, you got it, man.
What really struck me about this movie was the music.
Interesting.
And
okay.
Not just the jazz stuff. I love the jazz stuff, but the score. One of the reasons my wife decided to watch this with me was because the score is done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, sorry, from Nine Inch Nails. And they did the Watchmen score. They did Social Network. They've been doing scores for a while. But this is the first time they've done a Disney Pixar score from as far as I can tell. So I really enjoyed that. And I like that they hid the bulk of the movie from the advertising. Like you saw a lot of them in the Soul World and not really anything on Earth. Which left a lot to be surprising throughout the film.
Well, and I did like that a lot because basically when they got to the Soul World, I was like, okay, we're done seeing the human world, I guess. And you definitely weren't. And then I think the parts in the human world actually made it better. Like those were the parts I liked more than the parts in the Soul World. Because a lot of it I feel like I've seen from Pixar before. The whole like, this is where they get personalities. There's where introverts go. Hey, look at this. Everyone's named Terry. Isn't that silly? Or no, everyone's Jerry and the one guy's Terry. Like, isn't that silly? And I was like, okay, that's Inside Out. Got it. Like, I've seen those things before. I know you can be creative, Pixar. Thank you.
It also does a really good job of taking all of these spiritual ideas and ideologies and like metaphysics and bringing it all together into an easy to digest platform. Like easy to digest. I don't even know the word I'm looking for. No, it's easy to understand.
Yeah, and
it's
the thing
to connect with. Yeah.
And the thing I like about it too is it was completely like non-religious. The whole thing, like it showed like what happens before you're born. It shows almost what happens when you die, and like none of it like leaned. I thought like one towards one religion or another. Really.
Well, and what's great about that is it doesn't lean religious, but you can still read into it what you want. Like
exactly.
If you want to look at the religious aspect, like a religious aspect of it, then you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
is there anything that you didn't like about the movie? Like, is there, like, without spoilers, any, like, kind of overarching problems or anything like that?
There's one aspect... Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, there's one aspect of the movie I felt went too long, but I can't get into spoilers without...
Okay, but there was, like, a part that dragged for you.
Yeah, there was a part that dragged for me, but I can get into that when we get into spoilers. But I
Okay.
mean, other than that, there really wasn't anything that I disliked about the film.
Mhm.
My only complaint is I could have used more David Diggs.
Yes. Oh,
but
yes.
I could say that about anything he's in, probably. So
Who was
Yeah.
he?
he was,
He was
the
Paul.
guy. He was the other guy in the barbershop, like the one who
Mhm.
was like making fun of him the whole time.
Yeah. The one that
He
was
was
like
all-
on his phone.
Oh, okay, him. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He was also Lafayette and Jefferson in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's also in Kimmy Schmidt for a bit.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Okay.
about that.
You guys are talking about somebody that's in your entertainment circle and not mine.
Yeah.
So
I think the only thing I didn't like about the movie, I think again, it was just that reveal where the character like just finds out that the lie that he's been told the whole time. We'll get into it with spoilers. It didn't have the same emotional weight for me as like Onwards did. Like Onwards, like I almost cried in the theater, and then like there's a couple of times like Pixar's got me tearing up, and I think that that's a cool trick to pull because I generally think of myself as a Grinch type character. And this didn't have that same weight for me,
Okay.
but I liked the idea behind it. So we'll get into that later,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well,
yeah. And
I think we need to get into that now because I'm not
Okay.
quite
Yeah, we
sure
do.
what you're talking about when you
Okay.
say the lie. So this is your spoiler warning. From this point on, we're going to be talking spoilers on Soul. So I think we can all say we recommend this film. If you got Disney Plus,
Absolutely.
go check it out.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then come back if you want to hear spoilers. But if you've already seen this film or just don't care about spoilers, here we go. So Devin, what is the Pixar lie in this film?
So the Pixar lie in this film is that each person has a single purpose for being on Earth. And that single purpose is something very focused and very directed. And the whole point in life is that you have to drive yourself to that singular thing. The main character, I forget, I refer to as Jamie Foxx the whole time, Joe. The main character, Joe, believes that his singular purpose is playing music and is performing. When he stops believing that lie is when he finds out that the purpose of life isn't to drive yourself relentlessly towards a single goal, but it is to live and experience life the best that you can. They tie that lie to the spark that the souls have. You don't get the spark because you find your purpose. You get the spark because you are ready to enjoy life. And I think that's so cool. And I know so many people who need to hear that message. But for some reason, it didn't have the same emotional weight as in Onward when Tom Holland's character realizes that he doesn't actually need to see his dad to feel better about all of it. Like that one, like got me hard, but this one for some reason didn't.
I think I can explain it.
Okay.
Is that the explanation of the lie or the correction of the lie in Soul? Is that something you already kind of agreed with and thought about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is, and I think that it's more for other people. Like I want other people to see that.
And that's why it didn't hit you as hard as Onward did, because Onward, that part and Onward, because like, I lost my dad a while ago. So that part really hit me. The problem was I couldn't connect to any of the characters because I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons type person. I'm not a Lord of the Rings type person. So I was like, oh, cool. These are cool characters, but on like a surface level, I never connected with them. So like that like punch in the gut and Onward, like it was like, oh, cool. That's a really cool storyline because I really connect with that aspect of it, but I didn't with the characters. With this, like I kind of believe that, what they said in this film, but it's like in the past few years, I have come to realize that.
Yeah.
So the realization to what you already think and to what I already think, like it's still new. So that kind of seeing that in this film, like it got to me.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So for me, I thought they were going to go a different way than they did with it.
Okay.
I thought they were going to lean into yes, you're meant to. The jazz part of your life is important, but it's the teaching aspect that is what you're meant for. I thought they were going to lean into that more because you had the students show up to his apartment for the lesson, I was like, okay, so they're going to lean into your purpose is to teach and to influence these students' lives and teach them music and spread it that way. And I think I think the film still kind of does that, like seeing the joy and enjoying life, like enjoying jazz and passing it on to another generation. I think is where I was looking to see it go, and it
Yeah.
didn't ultimately go there, but in my headcanon it does. So
I like that. I do
Which
like
is
that
good.
because, yeah, if you think about it, like he's the only one that like taught 22 to like, learn to find her spark. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like that headcanon idea of it.
And I also watched it with a teacher who was like, "Yeah, he should teach.
He should be
So,
teaching. He got a full-time paid job. Yes.
Yeah.
Health benefits.
Health benefits. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a little bit of a loftier goal or a loftier message than I think Pixar's gone for lately. And for that, I really like it.
I was gonna say, what was the message of the good dinosaur? Because I haven't seen that.
I haven't, it's the only one I haven't seen.
Being a good dinosaur.
Be a good dinosaur and go die from that asteroid.
Yeah, you get over there.
You get yours.
No. So one of the things I do want to talk about, and this is a little bit back to non-spoilery stuff, but I love it. Every time Pixar does something or does a new movie, they need to challenge themselves in some way. They need to do something creative or innovative in the field. And a good example of this is for Brave. They made a whole engine from Miranda's hair. Was there anything technically impressive that you guys saw in this movie? And I'll tell you my answer later because this might be it. I don't know.
For me, the shots of Earth looked really good. Like the skyline shots, they all looked almost photorealistic, not as much as the cat in Toy Story 4. But those were what really caught my eye. Like just the landscapes and the buildings in New York, I thought looked really good.
I was actually gonna say the motion, like
Yeah.
everybody moving individually, the shots on the street, the shots in the club, especially when they were done playing and the audience stood up and started clapping, like that threw me a little bit because my brain for like a half second was like, I thought this was CGI, not live action. When they stood up, and I had that thought for like a split second, and then I was like, oh, that's stupid. The background character motion in this seemed to be more fluid.
Yeah.
Than it normally is.
I think for me, the part that was most impressive was the two very distinct art styles between the afterworld and before world and like New York. Because New York, like you guys had said, looks very good, very photorealistic, very fluid. The afterworld's very cartoony and very like Inside Out. And like in Inside Out, they kind of made the two styles match. These, they didn't, but they had to have Terry go to the real world. And they had to have in this photorealistic New York a cat that talks. And I think that I thought that was one of the more impressive things is they made it work seamlessly despite what looked like two different art styles. That was the part I thought was cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that too. I really liked when they brought, what was it, Terry? In. Yeah. I liked him popping out of like the subway art and then like.
Yeah. They like
really
integrate
cool
him with the environment.
Yeah, how they blended him in with everything around him.
Yeah.
This is going to be random, but and I don't know if you guys are going to see this, and it might just be a weird quirk of mine, but I see a lot of the crab from Moana in Terry, and I see a lot of Terry in the crab in Moana.
I can see that.
Like the voice sounds similar, and is it the same person?
It's not. I'm looking them up now. It looks like Terry is voiced by somebody named Rachel House. And the crab from Moana is somebody from Flight of the Conchords.
Okay, because like I don't know, just like their personalities were similar, like just the weird quirkiness of like their like self-importance, I guess.
Oh yeah,
like the way that they presented themselves was eerily similar, and so I was just like, I was imagining like, this is Moana, and that's the crab. The crab died, and that's his job in the afterlife.
That's his job now.
So, what did you guys think of Tina Fey's 22?
I think it was fine. I think she did a competent job for what she had to do. It feels like she was like channeling Amy Poehler a little bit.
I mean, to be fair, they came up together, so I think they're very similar styles when it comes to voiceover work. Because they're like, they both have different styles, but I think their delivery when it comes to voiceover work is very similar.
Yeah.
And I think Joy and 22 have a lot in common. So I can see that comparison a lot.
Yeah. What did you like it, Ryan?
So, do you like the character or her portrayal as the character?
20, the character. What did you think of the character?
I connected with 22 the most out of this.
Did you?
Film, actually.
Were you hard to teach?
For a long... What?
Were you hard to teach growing up?
No, not hard to teach. Not knowing what I want to do, not knowing what I'm meant for, and that's what I was talking about before about connecting with this movie, because it hasn't been for maybe the past 4 or 5 years. Well, up until the past 4 or 5 years when I had kind of a change in mindset, I was lost. Like, I worked for Walmart as long as I did because it fit what I needed at the time. Like. And I binge hobbies like crazy. Like, I'll be like, when I was in high school, I thought welding was going to be the coolest thing. Like, and I did a welding class for a long time. And then I was like, no, I like art a lot more, so I'll do art. So I got into commercial art. And I was like, I'm going to be a commercial artist. I'm going to be a graphic designer. And then I realized I hated that industry. And then I moved over and I'm like, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a history teacher. And I went to be a history teacher and nothing fit. I mean, I like being outdoors. I like doing camping, but I was like, it's like, cool. I could be a forest ranger. And then I looked up being a forest ranger. I'm like, with my dyslexia and my physical health issues, I can't do that job. And then I'm like, well, I like being outside. I kind of like trains. I'll work for a train company and be one of the guys that works on, the rails and drives those trucks that have like the train wheels that flip down and do maintenance. With my physical health issue, I can't do that. So for a long time, I felt like I didn't know what I was here for. And I thought that was a thing. Like, you're here and you've got like a single thing that like you're going to be really, really good at. And that's what you're going to do with your life. And you just have to expand on that. And it hasn't been, like I said, like 4 or 5 years ago, I realized, no, that's not true. That's definitely not true. I just got to do what, I want to do and what's fun and just enjoy life. And that's why this movie hit, because I really connected with 22.
Yeah, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So.
No, I mean, I'm exactly the same way. Like, it's weird because, moving countries like this, I had to quit my job because the job wouldn't go internationally with me. So I'm unemployed for the first time in my adult life. And I'm now kind of trying to figure out what that next step is. And it's such a weird place.
It is a weird place. And I think all three of us have been there recently. Like in the last 5 years, we've all been in in your shoes. So it is a really weird place. And I mean, maybe it's hard. It's hard to bounce back from.
Yeah. And like, maybe that's why I keep like focusing on the message of this movie. Cause I love that. Like, it's not about like finding the one thing that you're good at. It's about just enjoying what you're doing and enjoying being here. And I like that. So,
and
yeah,
one of the more surface things about 22 that I really connected with was going into the hall of everything and her trying everything. And then like her having fun for like the first 5 minutes and then going, meh. And I feel like that has to do, I mean, I have ADHD and I feel like that's part of it where like I'll binge and hyper focus on something for like a week and a half and then I'm just completely bored and don't want to touch it ever again.
Oh wow.
Like I was into model trains for all of 5 days and now I just don't care. Like I'm serious. Like there have been video games that I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever, and I haven't touched it in like 5 years.
Oh wow.
And so that's why when I find something that I don't get tired of, I obsess over. Because when I find something that I obsess over that doesn't carry on, I feel like I wasted time. And so I really also connected with the whole, like, I want to light something on fire. And then she's like, meh, like after that, or, like going up in the rocket ship and going, meh, like I feel that because I could be doing something really exciting and get bored halfway through.
That's funny though. I can understand that too though. I get that sometimes too, where I'm like, this is going to be awesome. And then I go to do it and I'm like, it was fine.
One of my favorite things about 22 were all of the flashbacks to her former mentors.
Yes.
Because they were
Absolutely.
very Family
Yes.
Guy-esque. And
Yeah.
usually I
Yeah,
don't
they
want a
were.
Family Guy cutaway in my Pixar movies, but I really like them in this one, and I could have done with some more.
Oh, I agree.
Same.
Like, I feel like with all of
Antoinette was
the
my favorite.
with all the Disney Pixar stuff they have coming to Disney Plus, I feel like there could just be a whole series of shorts where you just see different people teaching 22. And I
That would be
really
so
want to see
fun.
those. Like,
Oh, yeah.
If I can get a show of Forky asking questions, give me that show. Give me the show of 22 just learning from different people.
What were your guys' favorites? Did you guys have one?
Antoinette. Or just a floating head.
No, and they were in a cake shop, which is even better.
Yes.
I like the Muhammad Ali, you are the greatest pain in the neck.
Yes, that was a good one to be through the gloves.
I really like the Abraham Lincoln one, and I honestly forget what he said, but I just remember really liking that one.
She asked him about being on the penny.
Oh,
And he
that's
was like,
right.
Yeah, no, and that's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm good. And she's like, they put Jackson on the 20. Jackson?
That was
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yep,
it.
that's what I liked. Yeah. I thought that was good. Okay, so what did you guys think of Jamie Foxx in this one? Because this was a surprise for me, because Jamie Foxx for me is Django. He's in Robin Hood. He's in White House Down. He's not this character at all. And I thought he freaking killed it. Like, I thought he did such a good job.
I didn't even know it was Jamie Foxx until you guys started talking about the cast.
I liked him in this.
Yeah.
It took me halfway through the movie to put together that he played Ray Charles. So the whole jazz musician, piano player thing was like, oh yeah, that's why this makes more sense than I thought it did.
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
He's very diverse in his roles because
Yeah.
everything you just listed, he also did Amazing Spider-Man 2, the Jamie Foxx show back in the 90s.
Oh.
And what is he known for? Okay, so his known for on IMDb are Ray, Django Unchained, Collateral with Tom Cruise, and Dreamgirls.
That's like such a range though.
Yeah. And then he's also in Horrible Bosses 1 and 2.
Is he the horrible boss?
No, he's like their mentor who teaches them how to mess with their bosses.
Oh, that's fun.
Have you not seen Horrible Bosses?
Never.
Ryan?
I've had no interest in ever watching Horrible Bosses.
It is
It's not
Jason.
one we'll do.
It is Jason
but-
Bateman in it, so I'm gonna love it.
Jason Bateman,
Yeah, no.
Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day.
Yeah, I'm gonna love that three. Those three.
No. I like the actors. I just don't find the concept appealing.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I liked him in this.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I mean, it seemed different than what I was used to seeing him, and I liked it.
The weirdest casting for me was Moonwind, played by Graham Norton.
Yeah.
Who's that again?
Graham Norton. Who's the character?
No, who's Grant Norton?
Graham Norton is a talk show host in the UK.
I'm trying to see what he's in that you would know him from. He's very British.
Yeah, I didn't even know him from anything outside of his
Wasn't he
talk
in
show.
Something.
He was in
wasn't
Eurovision.
something recently where he did a. He did like a quick cameo in something. Oh, hang on, was he in Cats?
I don't think he was in Cats.
that's James Corden.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're on the
that's-
right track though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm not entirely sure I know who this guy is.
this guy.
Oh, him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him.
I've seen him occasionally on that show where the guy with the beard interviews the actors, and they tell stories on the red couch.
Inside
Yeah,
the
that's
actors.
that's
studio?
his show.
Oh, that's his
that's
show.
him?
Yeah.
That's his show. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Graham
cool.
Norton show. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only see clips of it on Facebook, so I only like.
I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I saw him in the IMDb cast, and I was like, "Wait, what?" But it makes sense.
Yeah.
I had to look back at the cast list to figure out who that voice was. Like, I know that voice from something, but I can't place it. And that's what it was. It was those interviews that you see on Facebook from the Graham Norton show.
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked that character, though. I liked Moonwind a lot. And I especially liked his whole, like, everybody else was, like, meditating somewhere, and he's just twirling that sign. Like, that's his meditation.
I mean, I can see that being someone's meditation, though. Like, I
Yeah.
totally bought that. So,
Well, I mean, I can definitely connect with that because when I was in high school, I was on a rifle team where I shot competitively. I used rifles and I shot competitively against other high schools that had rifle teams.
Wow.
Welcome to America.
At first, when you said rifle team, I was just picturing you in the color guard tossing rifles.
That's what a lot of people think. That's what a lot of people think, but it's not. Like, we did competition shooting at ranges at 50 feet.
Wow.
But anyway, it was a meditation thing for me. Like, I would lay down in the prone shooting position, get tied up in my gear, and you had to breathe a certain way. You had to pull the trigger the certain way. You had to shoot the exact same way every single time. You had to listen to your spotter and adjust your sights accordingly to like where you were moving on the target sheet. And I'd fall asleep after after I was done shooting for like 5 minutes because I would get in the zone and I wouldn't hear anything else. I wouldn't even hear the other gunshots going off. Even though we were in concrete rooms with headgear on, you'd still hear the pops. I wouldn't hear the pops.
Wow.
So, I mean, I could definitely see, somebody doing something as meditation because I used to.
Devin, do you have anything like that?
Anything is meditation. Yeah, this is going to be kind of weird, but for me, it's like if I ever just play video games, like if I'm ever like into it, it actually like I stop thinking about what the video game is and just start thinking about whatever I need to do. That one, or whenever I go on a run. Usually if I go on a run, I start my run thinking about a problem that I have. And usually by the end of the run, I'll have like thought about it enough that I have my answer to it. Okay. So opposite ends of the spectrum. Do you have anything?
For me, it's music. Like I have a certain playlist that I'll put on if I just want to relax and get into like to go to sleep. I'll put on this playlist. Like if I'm gonna lay down in the afternoon for a nap. But a few video games are like that for me. Anything where I'm Spider-Man and just swinging around New York City is very meditative for me, and I'll just put on like the Dashboard Confessional soundtrack from Spider-Man 2 and just swing around the city. That's like my happy spot, like very relaxing for me, and I'll do the same thing where I'm thinking about like my day and like just processing problems and things, but also just driving. Like driving is very meditative for me. When like there'll be times where I have a routine where I'm mostly listening to podcasts when I drive.
Oh yeah.
But there'll be times where I was like, you know what? No podcasts, just music on shuffle and just drive. So
that's pretty cool though. I like that. So this movie had like that whole meditative thing was relatable to Ryan. The movie had something for me that was really, really familiar. And it was after he does the gig. So he like finally gets this gig that he's been working for his whole life. They're done with it. He killed it. He goes out and is talking to the main lady that's in charge of it, or that was like the main like headliner. And he's like, yeah, what do we do now? And she goes, we come back tomorrow and do this again. And he goes, oh. And like you can tell you at this moment of like, okay, so I just gigged to do more gigs. And like that wasn't necessarily appealing to him. I had that exact experience. Actually, me and somebody on my improv team had that exact experience when we finally started doing improv shows. We like built these up in our minds. We, for months, would not do a single show. We finally did an indie improv show. We did just all right, but we did it. We were so pumped. We're like, what do we do now? And they're like, more indie improv. And I'm like, oh, okay.
See, that's part of the reason I never really got into the gig aspect of filmmaking. Because I know plenty of people who do gigs and like go from job to job and work on different projects throughout the year. It's not appealing to me.
No.
Like I like having a steady job and knowing where, like, having an office and a desk and knowing what my schedule is going to be week to week, even if it does fluctuate a little bit.
Yeah.
I like the stability of that. I don't like necessarily doing the gig thing full time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's part of what the industry is, and I just I avoided that in New York and in LA.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how it kind of was with the art thing. Because, like I said, I went to art school for a while when I was in high school to like do the whole graphic design thing, and it was fun. I liked being creative, but the industry just did not appeal to me at all. Because either you're freelance and you basically have to like sell yourself, which I don't want to do. I find like I'm very insecure about having to like create an elevator pitch for myself and like
Sure.
having to like, do that whole thing.
Mhm.
And then getting a job at an actual like company that does it commercially, like in a very wide spectrum, is very cutthroat. And that's
Yeah.
not the environment I want to be in. And so I'm doing a job right now that is like, it is my job my spark in any way? No. Is it fun? Yes, because when I'm done working on a machine, it's fixed, and I can walk away, and I know it's fixed.
Yeah.
And I can just go on to the next one. Um,
and you get to
so
travel,
yeah.
right?
Oh, well,
Like,
I get to
the,
travel.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
day.
the
I'm
travel's
driving
a
from
big
place to
thing for
place.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I love driving. Like, I love driving. Just whatever. Like, I could be a limousine driver and be happy. um, but yeah, no, like I've got a 75-mile range from where I live, and
Nice.
I could respond to a call within that range. Like for anybody who knows South Central Pennsylvania, I could respond to a call to fix a machine in Gettysburg, and
Mm-hmm.
then have to go to Lancaster, then have to go to Harrisburg, and then Greencastle, and then back to Hanover,
Wow.
and then go up to Halifax, and that's all one day, and that's half my day is driving.
Sounds like a lot.
And I like that. I'm by myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I just that scene just hit me like particularly hard where I was like, "Oh, I've
Yeah.
been there, man." So the one thing I've been thinking about this movie is that for the beginning part of it, it almost has this theory of those that can do, those that can't teach. And I'm really glad it stopped doing that. Like by the end, I feel like it doesn't have that because that was actually something I was going to complain about. The second he was like, teaching is dumb, I should be doing. I'm like, are they promoting that like dumb phrase I have?
I think part of the message is he's unaware of the influence he's having on these kids.
Got it.
Because especially the one who comes for the lesson, who's trying to quit,
Yeah.
and then she's like, "Well, hold on, let me show you what I've been working on," and that passion comes back for her,
Mm-hmm.
even though he's not in his own body at that point. Like 22's reaction to it is like, "Yeah, like this is it. Like you're doing good. Keep it up."
Yeah.
Like I think it dabbles with those who can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really play with that. I think it's more he just doesn't understand the impact that he's having because he just sees this as a job,
Got it.
whereas
Yeah.
he's really influencing these kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
and
I'm
that's
just
where the teaching aspect that you have came from.
And I think I'm just really overly
Yeah.
sensitive to that argument and just really don't like it because I have a lot of teacher friends who are amazing at what they do and also teach. And I've heard a couple people say that and I'd get really offended by that. So like when the movie started to lean towards it, I was like, ooh, Pixar. But I think you guys are right.
Devin,
See, the thing is,
no,
oh,
go ahead. No, you go ahead,
okay,
Ryan.
no. I've only heard that phrase in regards to sports.
Oh,
I've
interesting.
never heard it in regards to actual teachers.
I've heard it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was a decent shooter when I was in high school.
Mhm.
Like, I was a good shooter. Was I, like an all-star? No. Was I going to win any awards? No. But I can teach and I know it. So like I'm a good amateur shooter,
Mhm.
but when it comes to like competing professionally, I wouldn't cut it. But I could teach somebody to shoot professionally.
Mhm.
So I've only ever heard that in the sports realm. I've never actually heard it in regards to like a history teacher or a
Mhm.
music teacher. Because I mean, you have to be able to do those jobs.
I've heard it more towards English teachers, like people
Hmm.
who go into college for like a English degree, like I feel like a lot of them like want to like aspire to be writers, but most of the time end up teaching like high school English.
Sure.
Um, but De- Devin, did you get any flashbacks to when we were in jazz band watching this?
Oh my gosh, like the whole time. Absolutely. Especially
Yeah.
like him like singing the melody like while he's conducting and the band just like not getting it. I feel like there were a
Yeah.
couple of charts that our band did that like Mr. B was just like they're not getting it. Like I'm pulling this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were definitely a few of them. Like I remember the one time he pulled out the Family Guy theme song and we tried it once and he's like, "Nope.
Nope, sorry, this is
That's
going
not
back.
gonna-"
I was like, "Oh, did we do that
I
bad?"
didn't even catch that was supposed to be like "Wish Upon a Star." Like Alan, you mentioned before that the
Oh,
movie
at the
opened with,
beginning,
like,
yeah.
I didn't even catch that. So I mean, like I was in choir in middle school
Oh yeah.
for like a half a year, and then I quit. Um, but yeah, I didn't even catch that. All I heard was like, "Oh, a middle school band class. Yeah, that sounds right." I didn't even catch what the melody was.
And I don't think it like I think it takes a special ear to recognize what it is. I think that's intentional.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie did so much fairly realistically. And I think that's so cool next to like how fantastical it does get with like the Jerrys and the Terrys and the mentors and all that stuff.
so we need to talk about the biggest cameo in this movie that had my jaw on the floor. Pizza Rat shows up in this.
Yes.
The rat does show up in this.
Was not
one
expecting
Kristen
that.
and I were laughing so hard about when we saw that one.
Was not expecting Pizza Rat.
No, that was great
No.
though.
It's such an old callback, but I'm there for it.
When was Pizza Rat like around?
Oh,
That was like 2012, wasn't it?
Was it?
2013
Yeah.
or 14? That was like early. That was like in the past like 6-7 years.
2015.
Wow, that's so old.
Yeah, 5 years. It's been 5 years since Pizza Rat.
That kind of gets into the one thing I have to say about this that I kind of got annoyed with.
Okay.
Okay.
Was towards the end, I was really getting tired of the stick of Tina Fey, Bean, and Joe.
Interesting.
Like, it was getting annoying to a little bit, and then, but I'm talking like the last 5 minutes of it. Like it was just one of those things where like okay, I get it, cool. He's learning his lessons, and they just kept on doing the whole, like Joe's trying to get 22 to move on, and keep on moving, and she keeps on kind of doing things to make him open up his eyes.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I'm like, okay, enough already. I get it. Like move. Like get the storyline moving. But it was like the last 5-10 minutes of it. But it still kind of was wearing on me.
It went a little over long for you.
Yeah. It did.
Yeah, I can see that too. It did start to wear on me after a while, but I was like, okay, they're going to wrap this up soon because it unlike the other movie that we talked about that came out on Christmas Day, this wasn't 2.5 hours long.
No, where things just dragged forever.
Yeah.
No, this was
So
yeah.
I do have to say about viewing this movie, something that I didn't mention on the Wonder Woman podcast, but I watched the Wonder Woman movie first,
Uh-huh.
and then I stopped it with like 58 minutes left to go because Kristen was done with her stuff that we watched. I stopped watching Wonder Woman. We put Soul on.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Soul, and then I went back and watched the last 58 minutes of Wonder Woman. So my notes got crossed.
Oh, it's so funny.
So that's why I'm not going off them. But
I didn't
Well,
even
just thought
take
that
notes.
was.
Well, actually, so
I
that
was like,
brings
Devin's the Pixar expert. He'll
Yeah,
have stuff.
I got
so.
this. So that actually brings up a good question. So we talked about in our earlier episode with Wonder Woman, we talked about what it was like viewing this from home. What was it like viewing a Pixar movie from home? Did this change anything at all for you? So like we talked in Wonder Woman about how that big spectacle where there was a part where they fly through the fireworks, and that would have been a really cool scene to see in theaters. Did this have anything like that?
Honestly, I watch most of my Pixar movies at home. I
Okay.
think the last one I saw in theaters was Inside Out.
Okay.
So Pixar is not one that gets me to the theaters often. Like I'll
Hmm.
usually wait until it's on home video to watch it because it's usually like I just never really get to the theaters for these movies. So
Sure.
most of the time I watch it from home, so it didn't really feel much different from me. And I don't think there was really anything that really stood out that would have changed in a theater for me.
I would have liked to see this in theaters, mainly because of the 2001-ish compilation they had at the beginning
Yeah.
when Joe was falling through from the escalator to heaven
Yeah.
to like the before realm. That whole montage, like that was very 2001-esque of like the like weird visuals and the like tunnel vision and then him falling through.
Hmm.
Like that would have been cool to see in the big screen. That and when they were in the lost soul, like in the zone.
Oh, yeah.
realm, and they were dealing with the lost souls. That would have been cool to see on the big screen. Seeing that pink, you know, Grateful Dead ship.
Just coming up over the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was the same way. I think I've seen every Pixar movie in theaters. I see them almost the day they come out. So this was the first one in a long time I haven't seen in a theater, and I would have loved to see that. According to IMDb facts, that part that Ryan was talking about, where he like jumps through the escalator, that's supposed to be an Interstellar reference. Which like, okay, like insert space movie here reference. But I thought
Yeah.
I would have liked to see that on the big screen. I think so. It was a little weird for me.
And I'm pretty sure Nolan was referencing 2001 when he did that for
Exactly.
Interstellar, so
Right. It all
Yeah.
kind of circles back on
It's a
itself.
reference of a reference of a reference.
Right.
a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah. And then you wind up with, 4 husbands and one of them
Yeah.
doesn't turn out that right. Yeah.
Devin, do you get that reference?
No.
Oh, I know what we're watching next week.
Do you?
Yeah, Multiplicity.
Yep. Don't know what that is. I can't wait.
I thought these were your
Yes!
picks.
I don't know what it means.
These are bonus episodes.
Yeah. These are all good. So you actually brought up something cool that I not forgot about, but it was something I really loved when I watched the movie and then just kind of left. Was I liked those like purple monster things. And I liked
Yeah.
how you got to be one of them. Where like if you became so incredibly obsessed and single-minded about something, you like became like this monster, which I love that as a message, I think.
Well, that's kind of where, again, where my connection with this movie came. Like, that's where I was before I left Walmart. Like, I'm
Yeah?
gonna fully admit it. Like, I'll name drop. I don't care. Like, I was one of those monster things, and then the situation at Walmart happened, and I left. And my drive home, like, I literally had that reaction where that guy woke up at his desk and he's like, "I'm free," and he threw all of the like computer screens on the ground.
Yeah.
I seriously had that reaction the drive home
Wow.
on my last day.
Yeah, I definitely was in the same place at a certain point at Walmart because that's where we met. If anyone doesn't know,
Yeah.
Like, Ryan and
Oh,
I
yeah.
met working retail at Walmart. So yeah, it got to the point where I was there as well, and then like managers were just being really stupid around me. I was like, you know what? I don't need this. Like I can go find something else. And then I did. I found
Yeah.
something else and I was at Walmart for a little bit longer, but I was part-time and things got better. And then I was able to do video stuff full-time finally. And things got a lot better after that. So yeah, retail really does wear you down. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I even had that when I was working tech support. So I won't name drop, but I was working tech support for a specific, felt like a startup company. And every time like something would happen in the company, I would obsess over it. Like it would be all I would think about that night. I would come home and Romana and I's only conversations would be about me being mad about this thing from this job. And it literally like I turned into that thing. And then I got a job immediately after that one. And it was like I was a whole other person. Like I had my personality back. I wasn't just about this job. So like that like really hit home for me too. And I thought that was so cool where they just show that you become this like obsessed monster. And I love that. Good job, Pixar. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me of my adult stuff.
Now, what do you think your lost soul monsters looked like?
Oh, man.
Because they were all different. So what do you think it looked like?
Mine would have had...
This is purely imaginative, like, because there's no connection between what you were doing and what the thing looked like. So this is just what you wanted it to look like.
Mine probably looked like Grimace.
I like that. Mine would have had a lot of like ropey fingers that like were like all over me, like more than like two hands, like a lot of like hands and a lot of the ropey fingers, and then it would just be like have this like permanent scorn angry face on it.
Okay.
Brian?
Mine would have been a monolith with legs with the new camera set up for the iPhone as eyes.
Like the three?
Yeah. The Brainiac
three,
camera.
Would be, that. So what was it? Just the monolith, the eyes in the shape of the camera for the iPhone with legs, with tiny little stick legs. That's it.
Okay.
That's awesome. So all of these conversations bring up something I just thought about. Like a lot of the stuff that we're relating to about this movie is stuff that are collectively, 29 plus years of living on this earth have kind of made us relate to. Is this a kid's movie still? Like, did they really make this?
It's definitely a kid's movie.
Like, what would a kid relate to in that aside from like 22 silly?
I don't think for the kids it's meant to be relatable. I think for kids it's meant to be entertaining. And I think that's where you get the cutaways for Tina Fey's character, and you get him as the cat and doing cat stuff and cutting away to him talking to the cat meowing. I think for kids there's a lot here to be entertaining. I think for adults there's a lot there to make you self-reflect and be like, oh yeah, I get this.
I feel like that's such a hard trick that Pixar pulls off pretty well, though.
It is, and I think there are the gold standard when it comes to that.
I'm telling you though, when he woke up in that cat, I became a kid. I instantly went from like, wow, this is really deep to he's a cat.
He's a cat now.
What is it with Pixar and hiding the fact that someone possesses the body of an animal? Because they did the same thing in Brave. Like you didn't know that the mom becomes a bear.
Yeah, they made it seem like it was going to be like Scottish Mulan.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it was not.
No.
Yeah, no, it was not. The one part that made Kristen put like a frowny face on and made me go, oh no, was when they were like, it's like, he woke up as the cat, 22 woke up as him, and they're like, what happened to the cat? And they show the little blobby cat spirit on the story to heaven go, meow. I got so sad. I was like, no, they're going to kill the cat.
Okay, this might be nitpicking, but I have a question about this.
Yeah.
So we're in spoilers, so I don't care. So they go into his body and the cat's body. The cat's body goes into the great beyond. Or cat's soul goes in the great beyond.
Uh-huh.
How does the cat's soul get out of the great beyond and back into its body? Or is it just a zombie cat at that point?
I don't care. It just happened.
I don't know that it does.
I don't care how it happened.
Well,
it just happened.
Because then you see the cat with its owner again.
Oh.
So it's not like the cat just drops dead in the subway. Like,
right, they had to like yank him out.
Yeah.
My guess is Terry did it. If Terry's going to be diligent enough to go through,
keeping count.
Yeah, if Terry's keeping count and Terry's going through all of that paperwork, like just to find Joe, he'll find the cat.
I think it's a zombie cat.
My funniest thing with Terry is like, "Hey Terry, look what's going on over there," and they do the little thing.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, what? Were you saying something? Were we talking? I don't remember." And Terry's just like, "Oh, whatever. I'll get back to work."
So, can I tell you guys my headcanon for how this movie should have ended?
Yes.
Like how I see like where I see Joe in like 8 years.
Yes.
Or so.
I'm excited.
I see him teaching his students.
Uh-huh.
He's still teaching, still doing gigs on the side. A new student comes in, unloads a bunch of stuff from their pocket, and is really sarcastic and annoying, and it's 22.
Oh, that's what I want too, though.
Even though she dropped in Asia.
Yeah, I mean,
they could have immigrated.
Adoption's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. adoption, immigration.
True.
Yeah.
Very, very, very true. If that happens, I want her to be at least Asian, and if not Asian, somebody that was like belonged to like a missionary family or something.
Yeah.
Because you're right. She definitely dropped in Asia somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I saw the movie. Like, that's what I thought the movie was going to end with, but it didn't. I was like, headcanon.
Yeah, headcanon. I like that. I also, back on the cat, I like that they didn't do the whole cats don't have souls anyway, because that's what I was waiting for it to do, and I've like heard that joke enough. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, no, they definitely wouldn't do that.
I figured it out.
What?
Cats have 9 lives. That's how it's alive again.
Oh, and it just used 2 of them.
Yeah.
I like that explanation for it a lot.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to cover?
No, man, I like this movie.
One thing I had to ask Kristen, because it was right after the first scene where he's teaching and he looks at the pictures on the wall of like the old jazz artists. I asked her, I was like, are those real pictures that they incorporated into the film? Like, at first I thought they were real. Like, I thought those were real black and white pictures, but they're not. They're created just like everything else. But I really liked how they depicted his life. And how obsessed he was. And then going through, like, his haul of his life when they flipped it from the one guy to, his... And it was one of those things where it was like he kind of self-reflected and he was like, this is what my life has been?
Yeah.
Because that's all he can remember. And he doesn't think of, like Alan said, he's not thinking of the people that he's influenced.
It was weird watching that scene and seeing him just watching TV and flipping through channels as I'm sitting on my couch watching TV, just watching this movie.
That was a meta moment.
Yeah,
too much.
Yeah, I didn't realize this app had a mirror.
One of the things that I like about that, though, is that it's showing that like anybody can fit into that role. Because, I mean, like, I was thinking that a little bit, but then I was thinking to myself, hang on a second, no. Because I interact with so many people a day, and I have conversations with a ton of people that, even though I'm afraid that that's what my, like, haul of life might look like, and they don't call it that. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean, there's a lot of people that I interact with on a daily basis, even though I work on my own, because I deal with customers constantly, face to face. So, that, and they haven't really found a way of depicting social interactions online yet.
Right.
So like what the 3 of us are doing right now in that old style of like, oh, what does your life look like, would just look like us sitting on the computer staring at a screen. But in reality, we're talking to each other and we're discussing things. And this gets into why I have such a beef with people that are like, get off your phone. Like, no, old man, put down the newspaper, because it's the same thing.
Right.
Almost. Like, stop it.
Yeah, it's weird because like the 3 of us are talking every day, even if it's just like a meme or two. Like, we all have an interaction, and I've been like skirting around the fact that Devon hasn't seen The Mandalorian yet, but we're still having conversations. So I'm gonna guilt trip you as much as I can until you watch it.
You need to watch it, Devon, because there's so much stuff that Alan and I have been like exchanging about it that we need to be able to do it in the group chat, and we can't because you haven't seen it yet.
But I will say, you not having watched it has set up some really great jokes on our end.
Oh, has it really?
Yeah, it has.
We've been messing with you a bit, and it's fantastic.
Then I've totally missed all of it. Dang it. I'm so mad about it.
All right. I really enjoyed Soul.
Yeah, I liked it.
We already recorded our best of the year. And I didn't ask this question for Wonder Woman because I don't think any of us were going to put it on there. But where does Soul rank for stuff that you've seen this year? For me, it's pretty high. Not having seen many new films, this is pretty high up on my list now. It probably would have made my top 3.
Same here.
I think this would have replaced Tiger King on my list.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this would have been my number 3, and I think my number 3 would have been a number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this doesn't change my 3 because of how I did my 3. It was more about what took up my time than what I saw that came out this year. But this would definitely be in my top 3 for my favorite things to have come out this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would be this movie. It would definitely be in the top 3.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, make sure to tune in on New Year's Eve for our best of 2020, which will be dropping New Year's Eve, like I just said. Yeah. So if you're listening to this the day it drops, it will be out tomorrow. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi. Hopefully this is the first video that we did and it actually worked. Actually, I think Wonder Woman will be the first one. We've been having some issues. We're experimenting. Bear with us.
Figuring it out.
But if you're listening to us, make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at You Have to Watch This Podcast. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, Podbean, Audible, Amazon Music, TuneIn, and the iHeartRadio app. You can also email us at you can email us at youhavetowatchthispodcast@gmail.com. It gets to be a lot. I need to make a note so I just have it all there so I know what to say. But until next time, where I have the guys watch Multiplicity, starring Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton.
What?
For You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And we'll see you next week.